so her third time in the rivalry, affectionately known as Coach Abe. Both teams striding out to center court right now. Nerea Hermosa is going to take the tip for Georgia Tech. On the other side, it's Brittany Smith for Georgia. Although there might be a slight edge in size here at the tip for Georgia Tech, in general, Georgia has the size advantage.
The size advantage and the depth advantage, I think, will be on full display this afternoon.
Georgia Tech, though, got off to a really hot start last game. A 17-5 first quarter lead. There's Swartz, and she missed the first. Defensive rebound here for Javin Nicholson. They're the rest of the UGA starting five, really headed up by these UCF transfers.
It's huge when you're coming in as a new coach and you have veterans who know your system, know what you expect. It's been a huge jumping of the learning curve for the UGA team.
It's Diamond Battles and Brittany Smith are the transfers. There's another transfer, Audrey Warren from Texas. Just laid it in. Now on the other side for Georgia Tech, they've brought in some impactful transfers and freshmen as well.
These transfers for Georgia Tech, talking about Bianca Jackson, Swartz, as well as Blackshear, have been mainstays to an offense that lost a lot to graduation and to the transfer portal. So huge for them to show up here this afternoon.
They send it inside. Smith around is a little bit, it'll go the other way. Bianca Jackson brought it up, back to her. Played 2 years at Florida State, 2 years before that at South Carolina. There's a turnaround from Blackshear, but it's a little bit wide right.
And you're seeing one and done so far for Georgia Tech. I think it's huge for Georgia Tech. A team that's been struggling on the offensive end to create some second chance opportunities, which is very difficult against this 3-2 matchup of Georgia.
Nice deflection inside from Tony Morgan. What are your keys to this matchup between Georgia and Georgia Tech, Christy?
Well, I think for Georgia, it's turn your opponent over, and not just turn them over, create that easy offense. And they got to continue to do what they've been doing. That's win the glass. For Georgia Tech, they've got to take care of the ball. They're giving their opponents too many freebies. And likewise, they've got to limit Georgia's second chance opportunities.
They did not do that in their last game against Auburn. Georgia Tech gave up over 20 offensive boards, but somehow won the game. Inside, nice layup there from Tony Morgan. Broke an 0 for 3 stretch from the field to start the game for Tech. She might be a freshman. She doesn't look like it.
I mean, that's just a money shot. I mean, I said to you today, shoot around. I thought Tony Morgan was athletic watching her on film, and then when you see her in person, this freshman's going to be special for Georgia Tech.
She has no fear either. She's just oblivious to the fact that she's going into crazy acrobatic positions.
Well, Nell Fortner said we need to get out and transition to help our offense, and Tony Morgan didn't just take it hard, she took it strong for that easy two.
She actually got into a bit of a collision last game, had to leave for a moment, but came back. Here's Georgia on the other side. Diamond battles with the right, a little bit short. And Georgia Tech trying to take its first lead. Speeding to the front court. 3 on the way, and it's a little bit long for Morgan, who's 0 for 7 from three-point range to start the year. Morgan inside. Here's a 3, it's good! Cameron Swartz hits her first triple of the game.
And that was with a hand in the face. I mean, that's a difficult shot to make, and that's just how confident Cameron Swartz is right now from the three-point line.
She was the most improved player for BC last year, and she has improved to start this season. Warren trying to go inside. Kick out 3 is too strong. Bianca Jackson. Georgia Tech moving with a little bit of pace as Jackson pulls up and connects. 7-0 run for the Yellow Jackets.
Well, when you know that your opponent's gonna have a matchup zone, you want to get down because it takes 5 people to execute that defense. You want to get down before all 5 can get solid on defense.
So Isha Smith passes it over to Brittany Smith, poked away for a moment. It will remain with Georgia. Really good start for Georgia Tech as Jordan Isaacs subs in for Georgia. What have you liked from the Yellow Jackets thus far on the defensive end?
They've been active. Now, a couple of displacements that I'm eager to see how the officials call this game. But for Georgia Tech, you got to limit one shot.
Warren and 1. And that breaks the 7-0 run.
Well, if you're struggling from the field, you want to put it on the floor and get to the rim. And at first glance, I thought that could have been a charge, but Swartz was still moving. Great call by the official. Even better finish by Warren.
First foul on Cameron Swartz, and Warren early on has all the Georgia points. She had 10 points in her last game and seems to be taking on a little bit more of a scoring role, the fifth-year transfer from Texas.
Well, and Coach Avis said she needs Warren to be more offensive-minded than she was at Texas, and that's a complete shift for her. We know how defensive-minded she is, but right now I think for Warren, the offense in the half court is only going to be icing for the Lady Bulldogs.
Aaliyah Love inside, missed the layup. They call her Lily, couldn't finish there. Going the other way, Diamond battles. Lob to the front court, picked off by Bianca Jackson. Jackson carrying it up, the point guard into the key, and that's 4 points for the Florida State transfer.
Well, Nell Fortner told us Bianca Jackson has to play well for us. I think the head coach is very pleased with her point guard's performance so far.
They kind of play 2 point guards, Jackson and Tony Morgan, but Jackson gets most of the ball handling duties. Bounce inside, turnaround Smith, her first bucket. She got involved early in Georgia's win over Kennesaw State on Wednesday. Went 7 for her first 7 from the floor.
One thing about Smith is that she has just improved with each and every year. And even coming from UCF a year ago, I think she's such a better offensive player in this system here at UGA under Coach Abe than I ever saw last year at UCF.
And she's getting more of an opportunity. Last year won the American Athletic Conference 6th Player of the Year, but into the starting lineup now with Georgia in the SEC. Nicholson, just a little bit strong, but an offensive board. Early impact here for Isaacs as she'll go to the line.
And this is the luxury that Georgia has over Georgia Tech. They can bring in so many posts off the bench. This time, it is Jordan Isaacs with a rebound and then takes it up strong to draw the foul.
Isaacs, the senior from Alpharetta, Georgia. Starter for a lot of the last 2 seasons, but this is a really deep team now, as you mentioned, especially with 3 focal point players from UCF transferring over.
You know, when we asked Coach Abe yesterday about pace of play, you know, she mentioned, I want my post to run more. And I agree with that because she has so many of them. Put pressure on your opponents because she can pretty much go 5 true posts deep.
The post is dominating. Nicholson misses again, though. 5th chance opportunity, and that's going to be a held ball. Possession arrow keeps it with Georgia. And that is a dominating physical possession, but no bucket yet. Georgia Tech with a slight edge early on, but still a ton left to decide here in Atlanta.
So I had to quit college to help my mom, but I never wanted to quit my dream of a career in IT.
On Coursera, you can earn Google's IT Support Professional Certificate. No prior experience needed to enroll.
My job now is amazing.
Join for free at Coursera.org.
What's up, everybody? It's Ray J. Raycon wireless earbuds are the perfect gift this holiday season. Our premium wireless earbuds sound the best, and they're half the price of the competition. Head over to buyraycon.com and save 20% off products this holiday season.
3 seconds and counting.
2. One. That's where you start.
I love Made In. I love what Made In represents.
Above and beyond what people normally expect.
We're going to have the best pans in the world at one of the best restaurants in the world.
Men who care about their health and skin use Dr. Squatch Natural Soap for Men. It's handmade in small batches with different strengths of grit and scents that take you into the forest, distillery, or day spa. Raise your bar on soap at drsquatch.com.
Renovating an RV like me, the last thing you want to have to deal with is going to buy something you need and not having enough money for it. With our Chime Spending account, we can get our paychecks up to 2 days early with direct deposit, so I get to focus on the fun stuff.
Come on! Every team is going to come out playing their hardest against us. We take each win personal. We have a goal at the end of the season, and each win just brings us closer to that goal.
We're working towards how can we create an environment that makes it possible for us to win a championship.
It's going to be a competitive game no matter who we play in the ACC. It's really important for us to come to every game treating it like it's a championship game.
Georgia Tech play every year. Last year was one of the classics in Athens. Aaliyah Love got the Yellow Jackets going in the first quarter, ended up with 14 points in that game, but Georgia hung in it, especially hitting shots late in the first quarter. The Yellow Jackets stormed ahead again. Once again, Georgia came back into the game and even had a shot there at the end, but it was the Yellow Jackets who picked up their third win in the last 4 tries, and this rivalry had shifted a little bit at least. Look, it's still 36-8 in favor of Georgia in the all-time series, but 3 of the last 4 to Georgia Tech.
Well, that shift is called. That's the difference for Georgia Tech. And the biggest thing I can say from last year's game is that forget about it, because for both these teams, you're talking about 6 newcomers for Georgia Tech. I'm sorry, 7 newcomers for Georgia Tech and 5 for Georgia. A lot of new faces for both these teams in this rivalry.
And even with the 5 transfers in for Georgia, then 5 freshmen in for Georgia as well. They're trying to tie the game up. Just had a frantic possession before we went to break. Missed 2 free throws, picked up multiple offensive rebounds, but could not score. Here's Diamond Battles.
A key for Georgia Tech is Hermosa to stay on the floor. And one thing that she's just got to be more assertive early. Avoid putting herself in the position to get a foul. How do you do that? Rebound. Those first opportunities keep Georgia off the glass.
Hermosa is the big under the bucket for Georgia Tech, 20 in white. She's trying to get a pass here from Love on the right block, and that'll be a reach-in foul going against Jordan Isaacs. Hermosa for years was part of a Twin Towers deal with Lorella Kubai, who was twice the Defensive Player of the Year in the conference, but Kubai is gone. Now is essentially the only established big in the rotation for Georgia Tech.
Well, and when you mention Kubai, you're talking about Batman and Kubai and Robin and Hermosa, and very different role for her this year. And Nell Fortner said she's got to stay on the floor. She's got to make her presence felt here this afternoon. Inside
to Hermosa, fouled as she's going to the hoop, and surprising for a center, these will be her first free throws of the season.
And I love how Georgia Tech is attacking the 3-2 matchup. They're trying to get the ball at the high post. That forces a rotation behind. That time late by Georgia, Hermosa slips to the rim and draws the foul.
Coming up next, number 9 Notre Dame hosts Ball State. These 2 Indiana schools haven't met in women's hoops since 1982. They love their basketball in the Hoosier State. That should be a good one as Hermosa misses both of her free throws. Georgia going in the other direction. Battles for her first points. Cross-court pass tipped away by Love on a fast break. Warren chasing her down, and that's a bucket for Lily Love.
You've got to put something on those cross-court passes. Georgia Tech's just too long and too engaged defensively.
2 really good defensive teams using defense to generate offense right now. Pass inside, tipped away again. Lily Love came up with it. That should be her 2nd steal in as many possessions.
And Lily Love's a player, started most of last year. She's another player who I think when her game gets going is only going to help this Georgia Tech team who struggled on the offensive end to this point in the season. And so when I talk about Lily Love making an impact, it's starting with her defense. She reads the passer, shoots the gap, and I love how she keeps the ball in play and then just kind of braces the contact and takes it in strong. Hands up does so much for a defensive team. It's not just about picking pockets, just be active and be big on the defensive end.
She had 2 steals and 12 points in the last game for Georgia Tech. There's a turnover, though, and Battles is out and running. Chased down by Morgan. Nice up, under, and up again to make it an 11-9 game.
And a point off turnover. And this is what, if you're Georgia Tech, you can't afford the Lady Bulldogs to do, because this is where Georgia is at their best.
About 20 points per game off turnovers for the Bulldogs. Jackson inside Hermosa, turnaround, rolls out. But it's tipped away. No, a quick recovery there for Isaacs. Love nearly with another steal.
No pun, but I love how active Love is right now on the floor.
Said the depth was a big piece for Georgia. Love, one of the main depth pieces for Georgia Tech coming off the bench. And another steal, Toni Morgan with the pickpocket this time. Calls her own number, and she'll go to the line. Quick start for the freshman, Toni Morgan.
Georgia Tech's defense has been more half court, force you into bad shots. They're flipping the script on Georgia so far in this game. They're turning Georgia over and converting that into transition points. Here, Toni Morgan, quick hands, takes it up strong, gets to the free throw line.
Toni Morgan, the freshman from Tallahassee, Florida, had her first double-digit game of her young collegiate career on Wednesday against Auburn. She actually went to Florida State University schools, the high school and middle school system run by Florida State University, and then decided to play at one of their collegiate rivals here at Georgia Tech. Battles, ball poked away. And now around an illegal screen, that's another turnover. Love knocked down from behind by Mallory Bates.
Well, we saw in shoot around today just how focused Georgia Tech was on screen ball defense against UGA. It's such a big part of them getting downhill, and so far Georgia Tech's done a good job of blowing those plays up.
They have the Georgia offense all sorts of discombobulated right now. Here's Swartz, who's hit a 3 today. Over to Jackson. She likes the mid-range, goes inside. Hermosa with her second bucket.
I'm impressed with, and I'm using the term with air quotes, easily, Georgia Tech is reversing the basketball. I really thought coming into it they would struggle against this 3-2 matchup of Georgia, and so far they've been able to execute their half-court offense.
That was a focus in practice for Georgia yesterday, working on stopping those ball reversals, but that's another Georgia turnover. The Georgia Tech offense gets another set in the half court, and they've somehow thrived in it. It's really not where they usually do, but they are doing well in the half court right now.
Well, I told you, I thought the tune-up Georgia Tech against Auburn was good for them on Wednesday. Two very different type of pressure defenses. This is more back it in and force you into some bad shots where Auburn trying to turn you over. But because of how badly they got beat on the glass, how much they turned the ball over, I expected a much improved Georgia Tech team here today. And so far, proven me correct.
Offensive board for Georgia, though. Inside the bucket's good for Savannah Henderson. Daughter of the coach and a freshman who can make an impact off the bench.
I think the sky's the limit for Savannah Henderson. Just a beautiful stroke, has a great length to her. Again, she's a freshman. She'll make some of those freshman mistakes, but as you mentioned, she's a coach's kid, and you see that with her basketball IQ.
Had 9 points on Wednesday on 3 for 5 shooting from three-point range. Swartz over to Jackson, 10 to shoot. Kick out, Morgan for 3. A little too strong, and it's a defensive rebound for Zoisha Smith in Georgia. 2-for-1 opportunity if Georgia goes quick. Henderson had some space, but dumps it inside. Nicholson pulls up, too strong. Offensive board. She's been active. She goes up, and she'll head to the line. It's the third offensive board today for Isaacs.
Just attacking the glass. And Georgia Tech's getting caught looking at shots versus checking and then pitting to box out these shooters, because we're seeing it. Post players are getting multiple offensive rebounds right now off of misses.
UGA won for its last 9, but getting opportunities to go to the line, keep this game close. Great week ahead of us. Here's our Monday college basketball doubleheader. Florida State hosts Mercer at Tucker Center in Tallahassee at 6:30 Eastern. Then number 7 Duke hosts Bellarmine at Cameron Indoor. Both are right here on ACC Network. and the ESPN app as John Shire looks to make, or continue to make, a good impression early on to his new Duke fans. Pass inside, picked off, and now the shot clock turned off for Georgia. That doesn't slow down Warren, who kicks back to Battles, poked away, and that will just stop the Georgia inbound.
Great athleticism by Toni Morgan, but you're seeing there, that was a freshman mistake. Needed to know time and score. She should have been dribbling that clock out of Georgia Tech to get the last opportunity. Instead now, Georgia with the ball.
And I think that was the big room for growth that we heard from Nell Fortner talking at practice. Incredible athlete, but it's understandable. 3 games into the collegiate career, just still used to how the college game works and the things you need to do to make winning plays.
I've always said the 2 hardest positions to transition into college, point guard and true center. And we're seeing that with some of the mistakes here this afternoon.
Battles, veteran point guard, crosses right, 2 to shoot, shot deflected. She'll go to the line. They say she was fouled on the way up. Looks like Jackson a little bit shaken up under the bucket as well.
I think anybody who's followed the Lady Bulldogs this season knew who was going to take this last shot. Their Diamond just takes it off the bounce, draws the contact to get to the free throw line. But I got to say, for both these teams, now it's about converting at the free throw line.
Bianca Jackson getting up. That's good to see. And it looks like she is walking off for Morgan with 1.2 seconds left. Looked like she just got clipped in the face. You mentioned free throws, though. Just missed their last 4 free throws. And that's the difference in this game with Georgia Tech 3.
Well, and Georgia Tech's not much better at 1 for 4.
Make it 5 in a row. This was a struggle for Georgia early, but the Lady Bulldogs in their last game against Kennesaw State went 10 for their first 10. And whether you're playing Kennesaw State or Georgia Tech, the free throw line's the same distance. There, they hit it to break the streak and make it a 2-point game as we wrap up the first quarter. Back and forth, and the defensive battle we were expecting. 10 minutes down, but 30 more to go in Atlanta between 2 really, really good rivals. Georgia Tech and Georgia coming up next.
Miscues of Georgia.
As you can see at the bottom there, it's Georgia who was known for doing that coming into this game. We'll see what changes as we get into the second quarter. These were 2 teams that had really good first quarters in their respective games on Wednesday, and both regressed a little bit in the second quarter of those games. Here's a kick to Swartz, hit a 3 in the first quarter. There's another one in the second, 6 points to transfer. She can heat up.
Great execution of the set play from the bench during that timeout.
Diamond battles, bounces it over to Zoisha Smith.
And you're seeing now some zone work from Georgia Tech against UGA.
UGA, the team that's going to zone most of the time. Defensive rebounding a problem in the first, but there the ball goes out of bounds. It's Georgia Tech.
They ran Cameron Swartz baseline, forcing a rotation. Javin Nicholson just gets out there too slow. Swartz gets the feet set and knocks it down.
How do you disguise a shooter like Swartz when she's, I mean, frankly, at least statistically, so clearly the 3-point marksman on this team?
There's no disguising. Everyone knows what Cameron Swartz's strength is. And so the thing is ball reversal, as we just saw.
And Savannah Henderson has gone down right in front of us. They are going to have to sub her out of the game. Warren coming in. And that is a scary scene to see Henderson really struggling to put any weight on that right leg.
Bulldogs substitution number 31, Audrey Warren.
Here we go, Light.
It's just a scary non-contact issue, non-contact injury, unfortunately. I mean, Savannah Henderson missed the Jacksonville State game earlier this season because of a knee injury in an Alabama State game. I don't know if that's the same knee or not. We just hope she's okay.
On the bench right now, Warren in. Georgia Tech on offense. Here's Love. Made an impact off the bench in the first quarter, had 2 points. Hermosa over to Swartz, gonna have to shoot it herself with 5 to shoot. Trapped, gives it to Love, needs to put it up, and does at the buzzer. The step through is a little bit strong.
And that was subtle what Toni Morgan just did, but she hedged at Battles so that they couldn't get a quick outlet and look to run. It slowed down and pretty much eliminated any chance of transition for Georgia.
Veteran play from the freshman. Nicholson dumps it inside to Smith. It caroms back to Nicholson. Now we'll pull up deep to Zoisha. Smith connects. Brunswick, Georgia native with her first bucket of the game.
You know, one thing I think we're seeing from Georgia right now is they have pretty much dominated all of their opponents to this point in the season. Georgia Tech came off a really hard-fought win at Auburn on Wednesday against a really high-pressure defense. And why I bring that up is I think right now you're seeing Georgia Tech take a little bit better care of the basketball. Georgia has been able to get away with some of these passes, telegraphing passes that right now against this Tech defense, they're turning into turnovers. Even though Georgia has played an extra game, like you mentioned, Tech, higher competition so far. And that was a big win for them over Auburn, Mel Fortner's former school. Plus, it was the first win in 5 tries. Poke away for Morgan, all alone, and that's an easy 2. Another run out for Georgia Tech. And you go back to that Auburn game. This is the Auburn team that beat Georgia Tech here last year to give them their first win. How did Georgia Tech do it? Tony Morgan was a big reason. Really handled all against that Auburn pressure in the second half and was just huge on the offensive end. She just forced the 7th Georgia turnover inside Smith. Might have been hacked, no foul. Offensive board, Nicholson doesn't finish on the follow. 3rd chance opportunity for Georgia. They're generating 2nd and 3rd chances. They just haven't converted yet. Absolutely. I mean, that's the 8th offensive rebound for UGA. There's a block shot as Warren went up. Here's Morgan the other way. Pushing the pace, it goes inside to Dunn. Kick out Morgan. Driving inside with the left, she's fouled. She'll go to the line. Tony Morgan up and down again. And most importantly right now, active. There, quick hands, forces the turnover. She gathers it, takes it up strong for the early 2. And this line I loved because she didn't settle for the jumper, attacked the rim, and her bench is loving it. Also forced the 2nd foul on Smith. Couple subs come into the game for Georgia, including Alicia Lewis. They call her Lish, one of the UCF transfers who was unavailable for the first 4 games of the season. But now she gets her first action, number 23 in red. Lewis is just a true point guard, great shooter, high basketball IQ. I expect her to make a big impact on the Lady Bulldog offense this season. Lewis running the point against Cam Swartz, gets around her, bounce inside, easy for Smith, missed the open layup, and the follow is good. And one on a circus shot from Jordan Isaacs. Chance to make it an old-fashioned 3. Well, the 10th offensive rebound by Isaacs. Probably one of the more difficult rebound putbacks, but there she just muscles it up to get the 2. Bit of a discussion between the referees and the Georgia bench. I think they are arguing who the last foul on this against the Lady Bulldog was called on. 33. And what the officials said is they can go back and review it during the next timeout. 33. Still a delay on the free throw, though. Our referees today, Denise Brooks, Angelica Suffren, Katie Lanich. And so they're going to review the foul at the next stoppage. But for now, a chance to complete the 3-point play. Isaacs off the mark, though. Free throws a struggle for both sides to start this game. Morgan, Love fumbles with it. Back to Morgan again. 7 points for the freshman. Trying to penetrate the zone. Love's in the high post. Morgan should do it herself, and she lost the basketball. Picked up by Nicholson. You can't go 1 versus 5, and that's what you're doing when you're going against this 3-2 matchup without any passes in the half court. Lewis knifed her way to the bucket, but missed the layup. First points of the year. Swartz comes away with the rebound. No numbers here for Georgia Tech. They'll slow it down. They want to slow the pace of this game as compared to Georgia, who wants to pick up the pace and get everyone running. Well, I think the other piece for Georgia is they know they have depth. They, to this point in the game, have played over 10 players. Yet for Georgia Tech, you have 3 players who have played the entire game to this point. Something to watch, especially as we get into the fourth quarter.
One of the bench players for Tech, Kayla Dunn, goes to the line. Dunn, a freshman out of Dallas, Georgia, led Mount Perrin Christian School in Kennesaw to its first ever state title with 30 points in the final game. Dunn 7 for 11 at the line this year. Our next All Access, the ACC Live, premieres tonight and features Virginia women's soccer, Louisville volleyball, and Syracuse men's soccer. You get unprecedented access into the lives of student athletes, coaches, staff, parents, and fans. 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on the ACC Network and the ESPN app. I'm a little bit partial to the ACC champion Syracuse men's soccer team. Congrats to them. Brittany Smith over to Lish Lewis. Lewis started her career at Syracuse, actually, transferred to UCF, and then here to Georgia. Battles, deep 3. A little bit off the mark, wide right. Attempted save, and it ends up in Georgia hands, but is it a shot clock violation? They say it didn't reset at Diamond Battle's shot.
Of course, Georgia's going to say that.
Yes. And Georgia Tech said it absolutely did reset. Now the referees will confer. It didn't feel like that was 20 seconds from the shot.
No, it should have definitely been a reset of the shot clock.
Yeah, so the shot clock never reset. So more than likely, Georgia will check it in here, down 6. The Bulldogs scrapping away, trying to get back in this game here in downtown Atlanta at McCamish Pavilion.
Marathon has the fuel to keep your engine running at peak performance, because you never know where life is going to take you.
Your vehicle takes a beating from the environment. And who has time to wash every week? Keep your vehicle looking better than new with Cerakote Rapid Ceramic Paint Sealant, a breakthrough in ceramic technology. Now you can seal and protect your paint with unbelievable gloss and shine in less than 30 minutes. It's the #1 bestseller on Amazon. Look at the difference with Cerakote's true hydrophobic ceramic technology. Everything just slides right off. The level of gloss and slickness is unbelievable. Simply spray it on and lightly buff it with the included microfiber towels. Everything's included. That's it.
Cerakote's one of the most exciting products I've ever used. I've been in the detailing business for almost 4 decades. I've used hundreds and hundreds of different types of polishes. It's incredibly easy to apply. I can't give it a higher endorsement.
Guaranteed to be the glossiest, slickest, and easiest to apply paint sealant you have ever used. Get professional gloss, shine, and protection for your vehicle with Cerakote's Rapid Ceramic Paint Sealant today. It's Amazon's #1 hottest bestseller in paint sealants.
Hey, honey, sunscreen. We shop with Ibotta because it gives us cash back on everything we buy.
Is that why it's shooting money all over me?
It's a visual metaphor to show there's cash back in everything.
In-store, online, there's cash back in everything you buy.
Projects, the projecting gaming arcade now with animated targets to blast on your wall. Swap slides for different targets, but stay sharp, they move fast. Projects is portable to play inside or out. Family gaming gets an upgrade. You can get the Projects 2 blaster set and TV exclusive sticker sheet for $49.99 plus $7.99 processing and handling. Batteries not included. Must be 18 or older to order. It's the projecting gaming arcade with animated targets that's a blast to play. It's Projects from NSI.
We are out here, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be right here all day long. Let's get it popping. Morning, noon, and night. Morning, noon, and night. Nowhere more electric.
Back at McCamish Pavilion in downtown Atlanta. A couple views at the break. One to see which player on Georgia committed a foul a couple of possessions ago, and the last possession, a shot clock violation. There were questions whether the shot clock had reset or not.
6:58 has been charged
and
to number
now
35
it's going to be Georgia ball, plus they have changed the foul from Smith on Georgia now to Nicholson picking up the foul. So Georgia with all, Nicholson has one more foul than she did before, but the Bulldogs still looking to find some continuity offense. They're 2 for 8 from the field in this quarter. Georgia Tech 2 for 4 and continuing to poke away a lot of basketballs.
It's really, I mean, this game is completely flipped what I was expecting. I thought Tech would struggle in the half court to score, and so far it's been Georgia. I am astounded right now that they have 11 offensive rebounds and have only been able to make 2 of those conversions into.
Where are you going to here to try and break the ice a little bit and get Georgia a bucket?
I want Lewis with the ball. Let her create, set somebody up, or look for her own shot.
Lewis to Warren, inside to Smith. And she goes out of bounds. That's Georgia Tech basketball. Good defense again from Aaliyah Love.
Honestly, I think Georgia's going to be fine. I think right now what you're seeing is they're playing the best competition they've played to date. This is still a new ball club. We've talked about all the newcomers, both freshmen and transfers. They're getting used to playing together.
And this is a really, really good Georgia Tech defense that's now forced 8 turnovers in this first half.
I mean, you're talking about the 6th best team in scoring defense and then the 5th best in field goal percentage defense. So nothing is surprising about how good defense is, except that they have been able to turn Georgia over.
The 3-pointer from Jackson wide left, so it's Georgia ball. Lady Bulldogs 27% from the field, and that's pretty much average for what Georgia Tech has given up this year. The highest field goal percentage allowed was 29% against Kennesaw State in their first 3 games.
I mean, I really can't say this enough. For Georgia coming into today, they were averaging 37 points a game. Half of their points from second chance opportunities and from points off turnovers. To this point in the game, only 7.
And the second chance opportunities they're generating, it's 11-to-1 offensive boards. But the points off turnovers, they've had some turnovers, but not many clear Georgia Tech.
We've talked about how Georgia Tech's the best competition they faced. I think, honestly, I hate to even say it, but rivalries do crazy things.
Isaacs with a finish, and she is starting to heat up a little bit. Yeah, rivalries, you can always have a favorite in a rivalry, but it doesn't really matter once you get out on the floor.
Absolutely, and we're talking about combined between these two teams, only 11 total players have had any taste of this rivalry, so it's new for a lot of young players on the floor today.
Jackson. A steal off the inbound, but Morgan is denied. So no harm, no foul. Georgia, Zoisha Smith's around, but the layup too long. She'll go to the hoop as she was bumped.
And that last shot by Tony Morgan, no said to earlier today, we're struggling to score 2-on-1. I know she did not want her freshman to go 1 versus 2 and try to challenge UGA. But here instead, there, Bianca Jackson, steady with the ball in her hands, elevates and knocks it down.
Now on the other side, first foul picked up for Nerea Hermosa. We said off the top we'd be watching as really the only established center. Her foul count, very important to Georgia Tech.
Absolutely, and I thought early in the game she wasn't playing solid defense, afraid to foul. She's gotten in the mix now. Unfortunately, that last time just got called for the foul.
Maybe now that she's made it all the way through the first 16 minutes on 1 foul, she can feel confident to get a little more aggressive. By the way, more missed free throws, I should say, for Georgia. Inside, Bianca Jackson again. A little bit short offensive board, and the putback is too strong. Dunn went up with it, but couldn't finish. Lewis in her first action of the season. Tipped away, her was fronting Smith. Battles kick out. Zoisha Smith hits mid-range. Isaacs and Zoe Smith, maybe not the conventional sources of offense, but they're getting it going for Georgia.
And Zoisha Smith's been on a tear as of late. 3 straight career games for her, just upping it each and every game. There gets the turnover.
She already has 6 points, and it's 8 with a chance for 1 more. Georgia bench on its feet. Zoisha Smith providing this first half spark.
Zoisha Smith just continues to make her presence felt in this UGA lineup. Gets the turnover, takes it up strong, draws the contact to get to the free throw line. That gratuitous steal there. I mean, unfortunately, just threw it right to her. We've seen that a couple of times by both teams, just throwing it right to the opposition.
It has not been an efficient offensive day on either side, and with a couple makes, now this press for Georgia can be employed. Georgia Tech working on it today, though, trying to break. They did there, and Dunn was fouled under the hoop.
Dunn saved a possession there. That pass to her at the high post was a little errant, and she just went up and snatched it.
This press for Coach Abe, passer 1-2-2, 2-1-2. She kind of said it was both. It morphs around. What does that mean?
So based on your press breakers, how they match up to defend, the one thing they want to do is try to get you on the sideline and keep you there or trap. And that's why you're seeing Georgia Tech in the half court try to get it to the high post. You want to avoid the trapping areas, which are the sidelines.
Jackson skip pass. Dunn faked a shot to the hoop, and she just lost it. That's Georgia ball with a chance to take the lead. Although it's been a close game, Georgia Tech has been in front for a while, but Georgia's starting to come on here. They've hit their last 3 field goals. And Lish Lewis has been on the floor for all of it.
I said, she's going to help this offense. That's a true point guard for them. Great little pin down screen for Diamond. She just couldn't knock it down.
Offensive board, though, for Isaacs, who had 3 offensive boards in just the first quarter. Battles going left, try scoop, and it looked like a block for a moment. They say foul under the hoop on Dunn. First on Dunn.
Well, Georgia may be struggling on first shot opportunities, but they're getting aggressive with these second chance opportunities. Their Battle takes it up strong and draws the foul. And this is, again, we've talked about the lack of depth for Georgia Tech. And especially for a team that's struggling to score in the half court, don't bail them out with fouls. And that's what we're seeing Georgia Tech starting to do.
Jackets have been a little bit lucky, frankly, that a lot of the free throws haven't gone in. With that make, Georgia's 4 for 12 from the line, but they've got a little bit more frequently recently, and now Georgia to take the lead, they do.
And by making the free throw, they can extend this full court pressure.
Can't press, you don't have a make, and there's a nice interception tipped away by Lewis, picked up by Battles, who's trying to initiate. Back to Lewis. Into the middle, Smith, lob down low, Isaacs with the left. 3-point lead for Georgia.
And I love that Georgia brought Hermosa out and then looked for the high-low. Much easier to get the ball down low.
Double by Morgan and an offensive foul. What an impact in her first game of the season. Lish Lewis is taking over this game, and Georgia has a 3-point lead at McCamish Pavilion.
Everything starts somewhere. A wild idea. Is it kooky? Maybe. And some might care. Some don't. For the ones that just want to have a good time. Try new things. Explore. They try and get back up. They create the culture, push the sport. It grows a lot across the globe. More people doing more things, living more life. So if you're up for trying something new, just remember, everything awesome starts somewhere.
9-0 run for the Lady Bulldogs to close out this first half. Christy, what's able to all the to just take control?
You're looking at her, Lewis. A true point guard, but the other part of it, now this is 3 players that know Coach Abe's system, offensively and defensively, like the back of their hand, and you're seeing her impact on the floor, not just offensively, but as we just saw, defensively as well.
And there is Battles, one of the other UCF transfers going to the line. Brittany Smith finishes up the trifecta, and that's 5th years coming in as well, whereas Georgia Tech doesn't necessarily have as many older players to pull the bench.
No, and those older players are new to this system under Nell Fortner, and I think what we're seeing in the last couple minutes is the freshmen of Georgia Tech, their lack of experience has been exploited. Both Morgan and Dunn having 5 of the 9 turnovers for Georgia Tech right now. That last foul by Morgan, let it go. Like, Battle is looking for contact, and you leave your feet, it's an easy call for the official.
Largest lead of the game for Georgia, up 4 right now. Morgan was really dominating the game in the first quarter for Tech. She had 7 points all in that quarter, but still has 7 points. And the Georgia Tech offense has grinded to a halt. Last bucket for them at the 4:01 mark of the second quarter. Carmen Henderson, pardon me, Bianca Jackson with the ball. Bounce on low, Harrison.
a really important minute here for Georgia Tech. I'm not saying they have to take the lead, but they just got to get under control here going into halftime.
Kick to the corner, 3 on the way. Jackson stuck it. They call it a 2, but still a big bucket.
When you're struggling offensively, go to your experienced players. I love that Jackson took that shot. Yes, shot clock was going down, but that was huge for Georgia Tech.
That was a 2-woman game between 2 former AAU teammates in Swartz and Jackson. Battles, looking for a screen from her former UCF teammate Smith. Now a kick to Lewis, and she's a little bit strong on the 3. Nice rebound there for Jackson. Georgia Tech can hold for the last shot.
I love Bianca Jackson waving back to Del Fortner in the bench. I got it. I'm pulling it out and waiting.
She got the experience. She knows what to do in these situations.
Another coach's kid on the floor. We've got 3 different players on both rosters that are coaches' kids here today.
Hermosa couldn't handle the pass out of bounds, and enough time here, though, for Georgia Tech, who's been awarded the basketball, to look for another clean shot. Wow, everyone in the building was preparing for Georgia ball.
And Georgia stays in the matchup zone here on the out of bounds.
Jackson to inbound, had to lob deep. Cam Swartz, a pair of triples, pulls up from deep, thought she was up, it lands short. Long rebound, battles, she'll heave, and that's how the first half comes to a close. What a battle between these 2 teams in 20 minutes. Georgia Tech trading blows. It was the Jackets early, but the Bulldogs have stormed back, setting up a great 20 minutes on ACC Network. Their largest ever a couple of years ago. This one not looking like it's going to be one of those types of games as Brittany Smith controls up top. Hand off to Zoisha Smith and Warren and to Brittany, who scores.
Great set play, little diagonal back screen for Smith to get to the rim.
5-point lead for Georgia is its largest, as they thought there was a travel there from Jackson. Nice pass from Morgan down low to Swartz. She snuck behind the defense and gets a big bucket for Georgia Tech.
I got to agree with Coach Abe on that one. I thought Bianca Jackson went to the floor with the ball. Surprised there was not a turnover called, but great job of staying alert by Georgia Tech and scoring.
3-point game once again. Battles had 7 in the first half.
I was going to say, same play by UGA, just ran to the other side. This time, Georgia Tech defends it.
Zoisha Smith fouled as she goes up, and they'll count the bucket. A little continuation there. A nice hop step from Smith into the lane, and now she leads the game in scoring.
Well, actually, I back up on what I just said. Jackson did go to the ground with a little dribble, so great no call by the official. Better heads-up play to score, and then here, you want to talk about an NBA continuation play. But hats off to Zoisha Smith. Her game continues to evolve on the offensive end. So smooth with a ball in her hands.
This free throw could make her the first player in double digits in this game, but it's a little bit strong, and I probably shouldn't have said anything. We move on. Cam Swartz into the front court. Jackson looking for a Though terrorizing this Georgia defense, up to a dozen on 6 of 8 shooting.
I think this is what every Tech staff member has been expecting from Bianca Jackson. You've seen glimpses this entire season. She's putting it all together here this evening.
Smith knifes through, kick out, now bounced inside. Isaacs, the last bucket already gave her a season high. Now she's up to 10, building on it.
Well, credit Chloe Chapman for not forcing that shot, knowing that Jordan Isaacs was closer and feeding her with that assist.
And now a steal. 2-on-0, she'll lay it in herself. Georgia up 7. Or pardon me, Georgia up 7. And that press continuing to really ruffle the feathers of this Yellow Jackets team. Strong end to the second quarter for Georgia. Good start to this third. They have added to their lead with 4 minutes to play in the third frame on the ACC network.
The season, and each win just brings us closer to that goal.
Come on!
We're working towards an environment for us to win a championship.
It's going to be a competitive game no matter who we play in the ACC.
Your vehicle takes a beating from the environment. And who has time to wash every week? Keep your vehicle looking better than new with Cerakote Rapid Ceramic Paint Sealant, a breakthrough in ceramic technology. Now you can seal and protect your paint with unbelievable gloss and shine in less than 30 minutes. It's the #1 bestseller on Amazon. Look at the difference with Cerakote's true hydrophobic ceramic technology. Everything just slides right off. The level of gloss and slickness is unbelievable. Simply spray it on and lightly buff it with the included microfiber towels. Everything's included. That's it.
Cerakote's one of the most exciting products I've ever used. I've been in the detailing business for almost 4 decades. I've used hundreds and hundreds of different types of polishes. It's incredibly easy to apply. I can't give it a higher endorsement.
Guaranteed to be the glossiest, slickest, and easiest to apply paint sealant you have ever used. Get professional gloss, shine, and protection for your vehicle with Cerakote's Rapid Ceramic Paint Sealant today. It's Amazon's #1 hottest bestseller in paint sealants.
Projects, the projecting gaming arcade now with animated targets to blast on your wall. Swap slides for different targets, but stay sharp, they move fast. Projects is portable to play inside or out. Family gaming gets an upgrade. You can get the Projects 2 blaster set and TV exclusive sticker sheet for $49.99 plus $7.99 processing and handling. Batteries not included. Must be 18 or older to order. It's the projecting gaming arcade with animated targets that's a blast to play. It's Projects from NSI.
Welcome back to Atlanta, where Georgia's extended this lead. Why? Jordan Isaacs has made her presence felt on the glass. Already has a career high in points made. Had only been averaging 15 minutes a game, 19 with still a quarter to play. She's made herself present, she's shown hands, and she's just been a dog on the glass here.
She has been a huge part of this Georgia run that's been about 10 minutes long, where they have dominated this game. And that efficiency, 5 for 6. When you're talking about expanding your role, being that efficient, I imagine, helps a coach want to keep you in the game a little bit longer.
Absolutely. I mean, and she's not defending. She's doing a good job. She's a body down low who's strong, knowledgeable. This is a senior for UGA. It's what we expected, though, in the paint. We expected Georgia to dominate, and right now they're plus 16, 30-14 to this point in the game in paint points.
Georgia has 13 offensive rebounds. Georgia Tech has 17 rebounds. Here is Jordan Isaacs driving left, and that's a charge. Just outside the restricted area. Nice move there, but Isaacs going too fast.
Well, if you're Georgia Tech, you just got to, the defense gives you. Blackshear there gets the defender up and then just comes through with that left hand. And then on the other end, Jordan Isaacs might have been getting a little bit ahead of herself on that one. When you start scoring, you just want to think more buckets. That time gets called for the charge.
Rim gets a little bit bigger, maybe. Speaking of scoring, Bianca Jackson with 12 points. Over to Aviance Carter. Swartz back to Carter. Rises for three, misses. Offensive board, Blackshear. She'll go to the line. She's a physical player, perhaps now being deployed by Nell Fortner to try and even this game in the post a little.
Well, I love the fact she saw the three going up. She was at the high post, and she went unchecked and just went and tracked that rebound to draw the foul.
Mentioned earlier, Blackshear's basketball family. Both their parents played at Stetson. Both are in the Stetson Hall of Fame, and that's not where it stops. Older brother Keenan plays at Nevada, used to play at FAU. Even older brother Carey played at Virginia Tech and then transferred. ACC PM with Mark Packer, Trey Boston, and Taylor Tannenbaum talks football, but we'll also have the latest from around the conference weekdays at 4 Eastern right here on ACC Network and the ESPN app. Georgia Tech hanging in. They're only down a point in this quarter. It's been a 14-13 advantage for Georgia. The quarter make it 16-13 with Zoisha Smith adding to her point total, now 13. Swartz stops and pops, and that's an air ball saved by Carter to Swartz. 20 to shoot.
I was going to go crazy as Swartz and pulled that second shot. She got the ball at the free throw line off the loose ball, thought about it, but then wisely kicked it out.
Carter, who kept the possession, a lot of passes in. She hit a couple threes in practice today. They're looking for more three-point shooters.
Absolutely, and I like this right now. We've talked about you just got to get some rest for some of your players, and the freshmen have struggled a little bit, so I like putting the experienced guard on the floor.
Jump ball, possession arrow, Georgia.
Aviance Carter paid off because she kept the play alive. Spots up in the corner.
And when she hit back-to-back threes in practice today, the whole team got up. Bianca Jackson back to Carter. Lobs to She's really been running the offense. Pass intercepted by Warren. Battles back in the game. Into the key, going left, floats it up, nearly put it in through a ton of contact. Would have been a really nice finish. Georgia Tech wants to get out and running. 2-on-1. Jackson with the left, no. With the follow, no. And the rebound goes to Zoisha Smith. 2-on-1 Georgia, battles to her left. Smith goes herself and finishes. Layups and free throws.
A missed layup on one end usually result in a layup on the other end. And we saw two missed layups. Unfortunately, Georgia Tech couldn't capitalize. Georgia made them pay.
A 4-point swing, but here's Jackson, and her shot is blocked. It'll stay with Georgia Tech.
Georgia substitution number 23, Alicia Lewis.
So Warren is going to check out of the game. Lewis back in. Made a big impact. Beat the stat sheet, really, when she came into the game. And there we have a foul. It's going to go the other.
I mean, Carter's just trying to make her cut. I thought she got bumped a little bit, but unfortunately, no call there. She pops the GA defender, gets called.
Isaacs waiting to down it to Lewis. Lewis had no points in the first half and actually has 3 fouls. Ran the offense very well for Georgia. What was she doing that helped the Bulldogs?
She's got basketball IQ, so she knows not just where the play should go, she knows how to get it to her scores, knows when to get it to her scores. That's such a big part of offensive execution.
She's still looking for her first bucket of the season in her first game, but here's a third chance opportunity for Georgia. Lish Lewis and Bianca Jackson at the top. Screen from Brittany Smith. Kick out, 3 from Battles. Too strong, tip up, 4th chance for the Lady Bulldogs. Isaacs inside. She lost the basketball, and it's Georgia Tech ball.
Ben, here's what's crazy about this game. It feels like momentum, the latter part of that second quarter has been all UGA. Yet, as bad as the turnovers have been and as many offensive rebounds as they're giving up, Georgia Tech's on 5.
And if not for the sequence a couple moments ago, a 4-point swing, it could be a 1-point game. Fortner upset over him back, and I kind of see your point. Bianca Jackson didn't really have that much control of the ball.
Well, what Nell is saying is that she deflected the ball, and that's why she doesn't think it should have been an over and back.
Ball stands though. Lewis dumps it down to Britt Smith. Inside Isaacs, tried to do one more pass, and that one was tipped away. No, it just went off Georgia hands. It'll be Georgia Tech ball.
Well, one thing that Georgia's doing a good job of is they're flashing across the paint. They're going untouched. And if that pass had been sooner, that would have probably been an easy 2.
This press continuing to ask Georgia Tech. Even when they turn it over, if it's a dead ball turnover, Georgia can still set up the press, and they're trying to limit the time for Georgia Tech in this last possession. Nice pass, though, to Carmen Harrison, who gives it back to Bianca Jackson. She'll wait out most of the clock in the third quarter. A quarter that UGA has a 2-point advantage in. Jackson to tie up the quarter totals, misses it there. It's a rebound for Georgia, and the Lady Bulldogs have 2.5 to heave.
Well, another foul there, unfortunately, on Blackshear on the rebound.
Only the third, though, on Georgia Tech, so they escaped giving away free throws at the end of the quarter. Kick it to Battles. She can get to half court, and she leaves it short, but her team is up 5 points. Another strong quarter from Georgia. However, Georgia Tech is hanging in. We have 10 minutes to go in what's setting up to be a classic in this rivalry. UGA, Georgia Tech, when we return. Against Georgia Tech this year, 56% in that third quarter, 9 of 16. How are they doing it?
They're getting high percentage looks. In the third quarter, they had 16 paint points. What are those? Those are post feeds. Those are some layups. Those are second chance opportunities. And I'll just say it again. If you're a Georgia Tech fan, all is not lost. I mean, you are only down 5. You've given up turnovers. You've given up second chance opportunities. And yet here, you got a chance to cut into this lead.
Bianca Jackson has put the team on her back. 12 points, leads the Jackets. And she's done it on 6 of 10 shooting. Swartz is the second leading scorer on the Jackets with 10. Here's Love. Inside Blackshear, trying to drive right. Kick to the corner. Jackson takes it in stride, hangs and misses. She's missed 3 field goals in a row. Nearly had another steal, though, and comes down hard. A little slow to get up. Georgia with numbers. Battles into the lane. Blocked. Second time that Swartz has got her today.
And this is an interesting lineup for Georgia Tech. They're much smaller now with Hermosa on the bench. Does UGA try to go down low and exploit this?
What do you think the motivation is for getting Hermosa out of the game right now?
I think just a break. I mean, this is going back and forth. We know the history in the last 5 years of this series. And so I think you got to get, especially coming out of the break, it gives her a little bit longer break by giving her this sub right now. Now, the key for Georgia Tech is not to allow UGA to extend this lead.
They're going to have to start putting in some buckets to make that a reality, though, as Lewis carries it over. Here's Isaacs. Has tied a career high with 10 points. She screens for Battles, rolls, no pass there. Battles gives it back to Lewis with half the shot clock gone. Screen left by Brittany Smith. Former UCF teammates link up, now kick to the corner. Zoisha Smith has a game high 15, but she airballed that one. It deflects out of bounds off Georgia Tech. 4 to shoot for Georgia.
I think at this point, if you're trying to close out on Zoisha Smith, you got to close out short. She's driving by everyone, and so make her make an outside shot. And then that also puts you in better rebounding position as she tries to crash.
Smith hasn't attempted a three-pointer in the first 4 games this year and through this 5th one. Brittany Smith loses the basketball. That'll be a shot clock violation. Couldn't get it to Battles in time, and by the time the ball got poked back, it was over. So Georgia Tech, again, continuing to hang in there despite the fact their second chance opportunities. The half-court defense has performed all right at times.
Well, you just made the comment they were trying to get the ball to Battles. It's a rivalry game. Both these teams are well scouted. You've got to be able to take something away, and you've got to be able to read what they're giving you. And that's what I said with Zoisha Smith. Don't let her get the drive to the basket. With Diamond Battle, deny her the ball and make someone else score when the shot clock's going down.
Held ball, and Aaliyah Love is upset with Battles. She just got a technical foul. I'm honestly not sure exactly what happened there. They both were involved in the held ball. And just got handsy a little bit late. And they've given double technical fouls, one to each side. How do you feel about that call?
Honestly, in a rivalry game, I would have loved to see no call there, because I thought if the whistle came quickly, because I thought Love was about to say or do something. And so I think that's what was seen. I'm not sure the double was warranted, but I'd rather have the double than nothing at all there. I'm sorry, I would rather have nothing at all than the double for sure.
Especially now in the fourth quarter. In the first quarter, you're trying to set a tone perhaps as a ref. But this has been a pretty clean game. It's a passionate game, but that really the first scene flare-up of either team. And now Georgia Tech trying to respond.
Shot clock going down. I'm not sure Georgia Tech realized that.
Yeah, it was down to 10 seconds about. Here's Zoisha Smith, skips into the lane and lays it in uncontested. She's got 17 points.
And that's a situation, Tony Morgan with the 3 fouls has to try to at least contest that layup. You talked about Zoisha Smith not shooting a 3. It's getting to the rim off turnovers. It's getting to the rim off dribble penetration. You've got to try to stop that.
Shot from Swartz, wide left. And for Smith, she hasn't shot well at the line, so be not worried as much about fouling her if you have to get in her way. Only 1 for 4 from the charity stripe today. Zoisha Smith on a career-high point day, extends it to 19. She's taken 12 shots. She's made 9 of them. And her teammates love it. Zoisha Smith and Georgia looking for a big win in enemy territory on the ACC network.
Buying pants sucks. It should not be this difficult. These just came in. They're the only pant from Fabletics. 4-way stretch, done. All-way stretch, you're gonna feel the difference.
Have you ever met Miss Lindy? She's a gal with the bright red hair. Now she stands high from all the rest. You know her anywhere. Where she's mine. Yeah, she's mine. My Miss Lindy. Why I love that little girl with the bright red hair. Have you ever seen Miss
As a young man, my hair started to thin. I couldn't sleep, I was stressed about it, and there were few options out there. Nutrafol is a drug-free, natural supplement that gave me my hair, my health, and my confidence back.
Get started at Nutrafol.com/man.
Men who care about their health and skin use Dr. Squatch Natural Soap for Men. It's handmade in small batches with different strengths of grit and scents that take you into the forest, distillery, or day spa. Raise your bar on soap at drsquatch.com.
Raycon. What's up, everybody? It's Ray J. Raycon wireless earbuds are the perfect gift this holiday season. Our premium wireless earbuds sound the best, and they're half the price of the competition. Head over to buyraycon.com and save 20% off products this holiday season.
Attention! Did you or a loved one live at or near Marine Base Camp Lejeune in North Carolina between 1953 and 1987? If so, listen closely for this important legal announcement. From 1953 to 1987, Marines and their family members at Camp Lejeune drank water that was contaminated with hazardous toxins. The toxins found in the water at Camp Lejeune may cause health issues, especially later in life. Types of health issues associated with water at Camp Lejeune are numerous. If you or a loved one lived near Camp Lejeune between 1953 and 1987, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation without going to court. Even if you were turned down in the past, a new law can allow you to file a claim today. If you or a loved one spent time near Camp Lejeune, call the Negligence Network to find out if you're eligible for financial compensation. There's no fee unless we win your case. Call 1-800-700-9399. That's 1-800-700-9399. 1-800-700-9399.
Welcome back, where Georgia's extended their lead on the back of Zoisha Smith. How has she done it? Pure and simple, taking what the defense gives you, splitting through defenders, getting on the glass, taking open jumpers. This is a young lady who a year ago averaged 3 points a game. Here today, this is her 4th straight game with a career high, 19 points with still half a quarter to go.
Looks like a big offensive weapon for Coach Abe and Georgia. Zoisha Smith, 9 of 12 from the field. Can't do a whole lot better than that. And it's a big Georgia lead. 9 points is the largest we've seen in this game. Tony Morgan with 3 fouls on her. The freshman kicks to Bianca Jackson, back to Morgan. 7 points in the first quarter, none since for Morgan.
Oh, they just missed Jackson on a flash to the post.
Swartz up. And she makes it. That ends a streak of 6 field goals missed in a row. And maybe Swartz can get going.
Well, it feels like every time you think Georgia's about to just put this away, either Jackson or Swartz comes up with a really tough make to get Georgia Tech back in it.
Still a lot of time for the Jackets. But really, since the end of the second quarter, it's been Georgia's game. Lish Lewis with not a lot of time, doesn't use the screen, calls her number, and just misses her first points of the year, but the follow is in. That's Brittany Smith on the glass. She's up to 8.
I think the disturbing thing for Georgia Tech when you go back and watch this film is the offensive rebounds where Georgia players are just going to the glass untouched. Nobody is checking them, and they're making Georgia Tech pay.
It's the second game in a row with at least 20 offensive rebounds allowed. Bianca Jackson to the hole, a little bit too soft. Zoisha Smith out and running. Smith has 21 points, and the layoff there to Brittany Smith, who's up to 10.
I just can't say enough about Zoisha Smith's game here today. A young who came to UGA as a post player, transitioned to the perimeter a year ago. We've already talked about she averaged 3 points a game, now 21 points.
Too strong from Jackson, that's Georgia ball. How do you think playing in those different roles, different positions can help a player grow young in their career?
I think she's got versatility. She could obviously post up if she needed to, but a lot of her points, not all 19 of them, but some of these have come off of turnover. She's the front of that press. She's so active. She's long. She's quick. She's agile. So that feeds into her skill set. And I think just today, she's been on the offensive glass, which is just pure effort. And as I said, has been unchecked a lot of the time.
Nice pass inside. Javin Nicholson with her first bucket. And all of a sudden, Georgia is starting to get way out in front. Georgia Tech held on for a while.
Well, we talked about the depth of Georgia, and it forces not only physical fatigue, but mental fatigue. And we've seen some of the careless passes at times that's hurt Georgia Tech. Their great effort to get the 2.
Blackshear firing up her bench. They're trying to get a last push here with just about 4 minutes to go in the game.
When you see them extending the defense, that 2-2-1, just trying to get Georgia to turn it over or get this offensive rhythm that they've found all of a sudden.
Brittany Smith to Zoisha Smith. Coach Abe saw down low, that wasn't made. She was upset. Here's a floater from Lewis, just rolls out, and there's a foul on Smith under the hoop. Looked like a slap on the top of the hand. Zoisha Smith is having a career day, 21 points and an 11-point Georgia lead.
For too long, spicy fast food has been anything but. No more. Spice Nirvana awaits at Arby's. Just say, I'll have a Diablo sandwich and loaded fries. Arby's,
from the environment. And who has time to wash every week? Keep your vehicle looking better than new with Cerakote Rapid Ceramic Paint Sealant, a breakthrough in ceramic technology. Now you can seal and protect your paint with unbelievable gloss and shine in less than 30 minutes. It's the #1 bestseller on Amazon. Look at the difference with Cerakote's true hydrophobic ceramic technology. Everything just slides right off. The level of gloss and slickness is unbelievable. Simply spray it on and lightly buff it with the included microfiber towels. Everything's included. That's it.
Cerakote's one of the most exciting products I've ever used. I've been in the detailing business for almost 4 decades. I've used hundreds and hundreds of different types of polishes. It's incredibly easy to apply. I can't give it a higher endorsement.
Guaranteed to be the glossiest, slickest, and easiest to apply paint sealant you have ever used. Get professional gloss, shine, and protection for your vehicle with Cerakote's Rapid Ceramic Paint Sealant today. It's Amazon's #1 hottest bestseller in paint sealants.
Renovating an RV like me, the last thing you want to have to deal with is going to buy something you need and not having enough money for it. With our Chime Spending account, we can get our paychecks up to 2 days early with direct deposit, so I get to focus on the fun stuff.
Every team is going to come out playing their hardest against us. We take each win personal. We have a goal at the end of the season, and each win just brings us closer to that goal.
We're working towards how can we create an environment that makes it possible for us to win a championship.
It's going to be a competitive game no matter who we play in the ACC. It's really important for us to come to every game treating it like it's a championship game.
Georgia Tech in danger of suffering its first loss of the season here at McCamish Pavilion with Georgia on top and Schulman with Christy Thomas-Scuddy. And early in the season, coaches like Nell Fortner trying to work on things. It seems like some of the things they're trying to work on, they're still not quite there yet, and it's being exploited in this game.
Well, I asked Coach Fortner today, I was like, what are those areas that you know your team has to get better at? And unfortunately, all those have come back to hurt them here today. She said post play. Right now to this point in the game, Georgia Tech's getting outscored in the paint 44-20. She said, we've got to execute better. Now, they have shot the ball better today than they have on the season, but yet they're still turning the ball over 15 to this point in the game. And she said, I got to develop our bench. And right now, only 6 bench points for Georgia Tech.
Nicholson checks out of the game after that foul. It was kind of just a bull rush down the floor to try and get to the line for Cameron Swartz. Here's our Monday college basketball doubleheader. Florida State and Leonard Hamilton host Mercer at the Tucker Center in Tallahassee at 6:30. Then number 7 Duke hosts Bellarmine and Cameron Indoor. Both are right here on ACC Network and the ESPN app. 1 of 2 makes it a 10-point game. Georgia Tech still has a chance, but a lob inside. Isaacs with a new career high in points, up to 12. She's missed only 1 field goal today. Georgia Tech breaks the press. Morgan floats it up, misses right, trying to get some contact, and it'll stick with Georgia Tech. Time is starting to run out on the Yellow Jackets.
Georgia ball.
Georgia ball. Pardon me.
Harrison got away with it over the back. She came in there looking for that rebound.
They check it into Brittany Smith and now get it over to Diamond Battles. It is remarkable Georgia is persevering without maybe its leader, Diamond Battles, really having an efficient day, 2 of 13 from the floor. She's done a good job in other areas.
Well, and that's a veteran player. Maybe your shot's not falling. You can still have an impact on your team. And there draws the off-ball foul.
Second foul of the quarter against Georgia Tech. Fourth, though, on Bianca Jackson with 3 minutes to play. Battles, lobs it up. Isaacs has it. Isaacs and Zoisha Smith. Those have been the leaders today for Georgia, really showing the depth that the Lady Bulldogs have. Those two have combined for 33 of the 59 points.
I mean, Battles had a great season to this point in the season. Has had great games at this point in the season. But when you look at this team, it's been Brittany Smith, it's been Zoisha Smith, it's been Gavin Nicholson that have had big games from a point production. So for UGA going forward, if you can have the consistency of someone like Lewis, someone like Battle, and then you're going to get post-production like they've seen today, this team's going to have a lot of success.
Georgia preseason ranked to finish 9th in the SEC. However, they were preseason picked a couple years ago to finish 9th and finished a lot higher than that, made it to the SEC tournament final. And for a moment there, had South Carolina on the ropes. Maybe this is setting up what's looking to be an exciting year in Athens.
Well, until last year, it just seemed like every year where Georgia was picked, they would overachieve. Last year, not as good of a year as they would have liked. But I mean, the pieces are here, and I think what's going to be really interesting, and I can't wait for SEC play to see how do teams try to attack this 3-2 matchup. It's, as we mentioned, it's been successful every place Coach Abe has used it and utilized it. Now I'm eager to see with some of the bigger athletes in the SEC, how do they go about attacking it? We saw Georgia Tech have success, get it to the high post. Other teams will also have shooters around the perimeter. Swartz was kept in check here today for the better part.
She came into the game shooting near 50% from 3, but 2 of 9 from deep today. They bounce it down low to Love. Back to Jackson, who stepped on the sideline. And it's really starting to fall apart here as Georgia, with maybe a little bit more energy because they've played more players and a big lead, is really taking control.
Well, I think it's the depth of Georgia. We're starting to see some mistakes by Georgia Tech here late in the game. I think the other part of it is there is a wear and tear mentally from teams who press nonstop, because you're just never able to relax, which is very different if you haven't gone against that night in and night out.
Good steal for Jackson. Speeds to the lane. Aviance Carter. Bang! Second 3 of the game for Carter. Back to 11.
This is not over. Georgia Tech must get a stop here. And if I'm Georgia, I'm letting the air out a little bit. Let's pull it out and wait to shoot or draw a foul. Diamond Battles.
Diamond Battles into the lane. She looked like she really had no intention of slowing the game down. She wanted more, but she'll have a chance to get some.
She basically was like, Christy, what do you know? I can get to the free throw line.
Diamond Battles at the line, shooting 2.
Battles today 7 for 8 from the free throw line. Coming up next, number 9 Notre Dame hosts Ball State. These two Indiana schools haven't met in women's hoops since 1982, and Notre Dame, one of the top teams in what should be a loaded ACC this year. Georgia Tech is going to have to pick up some of the things like the rebounding when they head into an ACC that's got Louisville, it's got Notre Dame, it's got NC State, and more. Tons of really good teams coming up this season for Georgia Tech to battle with.
Well, bottom line is the game of basketball is a possessions game. I mean, yes, you're going to have off nights shooting, but overall, the more opportunities you get to score, the greater your chances to win. And that's been the problem here today for Georgia Tech, getting beat on the glass and turning it over. You're just giving the other team too many opportunities to beat you.
Georgia shooting 44% because of all those high percentage takes. By far the highest any team has shot against Georgia this year. The previous high was 29 as Battles is off the mark. A foul under the hoop.
Great box out by Love there.
Foul charge to number 20, Jordan Isaacs, for third, 4th team foul.
If you're Georgia Tech, you kind of just have to chuck a 3 up pretty quickly, right? Or go to the lane pretty quick?
Yeah, you're looking for a quick opportunity to score. I think teams a lot of times waste so much time trying to get the 3, and it's null and void now with another turnover. But I'm a big fan of, if you can get to the rim quickly, get to the rim quickly, because you just need points at this point.
It looked like they would have had a good opportunity there, 2-on-1 or maybe even a partial 2-on-0, but the pass a little bit far away from Swartz, and that probably ends the hopes there of a miracle comeback for Georgia Tech. Battles is going to dribble out a lot of the shot clock here as we approach 1 minute left to go.
And this is what's tough to defend UGA in late game situations. If Lewis is on the floor too, you virtually have 2 point guards on the floor for UGA.
Bucket there to extend the lead. Pass tipped out of bounds by Lewis. How big has it been for Georgia to get Lewis back? She really turned this game. When she came in, the whole game flipped.
It's what I expected. Like when I saw that she had followed Coach Abe here to UGA, I was expecting this. This young lady has done nothing but make an impact on the floor throughout her UCF career. A former Syracuse player as well, who had a huge year there before transferring to UCF. I mean, the young lady's just talented.
Timeout, Georgia.
Georgia going to take a timeout with 43 seconds to go, but the main story for Georgia has been the unusual suspects who have combined to score the majority of the points, Zoisha Smith and Jordan Isaacs. For Georgia Tech, they have some tough games coming up against UCF coming up on Friday. other than the post play, which obviously on the defensive end has hurt them, what do you think goes into practice on the offensive end for Nell Fortner between this game and their matchup with South Florida coming up on Friday?
You just need reps. You need, again, we talked about the number of newcomers, and that's two main components there, or three actually. We talk about Blackshear, Swartz, and Jackson. You just need lots of reps. So this is going to be difficult too. You don't know if the practice squads are around here with a holiday break coming up. But just working on taking away first option. What do you do then? What's your second, third option? And honestly, right now, there's a lot of just, you got to box your player out when a shot goes up. To give up 20 offensive rebounds, it's going to be almost impossible to win as their schedule moves forward if you're going to give the opponents that many second chance opportunities.
So just over 40 seconds left for Georgia to try and put a cap on this one. We had said Georgia Tech has won 3 of the last 4. However, on the Georgia side, this will be 2 wins in a row in McCamish Pavilion. So they start on the away court of their rival. As the pass goes in to Diamond Battles. For Coach Abe in her first year, too, this has got to be a big win, taking out a rival early on, as it's an easy bucket for Brittany Smith.
I think anyone associated with this rivalry will say any win's a big win. There's just not a lot of love between these two schools.
And Georgia wants to start swinging it back in their favor, assuming this score holds, which it will. A 37-8 advantage now for Georgia. Turnaround is off the mark. And now Georgia can just dribble it out. Georgia Tech came out punching, but Georgia responded in the second quarter and really held control of the game until then. What a performance it was from the post players of UGA. And now they get to make it known here in McCamish Pavilion. Georgia wins. They move to 5-0. And Coach Abe is victorious in this in-state rivalry.
Well, you mentioned the post, and obviously there's some guard points in here too, but 48 of their 66 points came in the paint. Those are high percentage looks at the rim. Really difficult to defend when you're getting that kind of look.
And Georgia Tech, like I said, started strong, but really